Hey, this is MJ, and in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make a chunky throw blanket, and I'm using Soho Colossal from Herrschners. This yarn is a jumbo number 7, and it's 100% polyester. The color that I'm using in today's tutorial is eggshell. I have 2 hook sizes I'm going to be using for the pattern. I want to start out my chain with a larger hook. Because I'm using the herringbone double crochet in this pattern, the stitch itself tends to work out very large, and the chain will want to pull in at the side of the blanket. So if we chain using the larger hook, it's going to keep that chain nice and loose. And then I'll switch over to my 25mm hook when I'm working my stitch pattern. Now these are Furls crochet hooks. They are sold out of these hooks, but I will link in the description box some other hooks that you can purchase. Now, if you are able to keep this chain really loose, then you could try to work with just the 1 size hook, but this definitely helps keep this chain from being too tight on the edge of our blanket. So I'm going to start out with a slip knot with the 30mm hook, and it might take a little bit of practice with these chains. Just keep working with it until you have nice, even, loose chains for the side of your blanket. And I'm also going to give you a measurement on that so you can see if you're on track. So our throw blanket sizes are worked from the side across. So our chain is going to be the length of our throw. Our rows are going to be the width. Now, I've included several sizes in this pattern. I have included bed throws, and they're worked slightly different. We're working them from the bottom up. So our chain is going to be the length or the width over our bed, and then our rows will cover however much of the bed we're going to cover. I have 2 different options in the pattern for that. Now you want to make sure you have a lot of yarn pulled out so when you're working your chain, you can continue without getting any pulling. I find if I'm pulling from the ball and I get a little tug, it'll just pull that chain tight, and then I'll have to start over. So if I have a lot of yarn ready to go, I know I'll be able to easily just crochet up that chain without any tugging. So you're going to chain out a total of 36. And you want your chain to measure about 60 inches. And that will keep your chain roughly the same size as what the stitches are going to work out to. So the length of this blanket is 60 inches. So you want to make sure that that chain is around that 60-inch mark. And then you won't have any tugging in on the side of the blanket. So I'm going to go ahead and work up my chains, and then I'll meet you back up again. So once you've worked your 36 chains, we're going to change over to the smaller hook. Now, if you're able to use this size hook and get your 60 inches, then that is fine. I just find that makes it so much easier than trying to keep those stitches extra loose. So now we're going to work our herringbone double crochet in the 2nd chain from the hook. So 1, 2. I'm going to be working into the back loop of the chain. You can turn your work and work into the back bump, but I find it is difficult with this yarn to see that bump. So this just makes it a little bit more beginner friendly if we just work into the back chain. So yarn over, go through the chain, pulling up a loop, pull through the first loop only on your hook, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So yarn over, go through the next chain, pull up a loop, pulling right through the first loop on our hook, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go through the next chain, pull through the loop on the hook, and that's what's going to give it this angle the stitch is going to pull to the side. You're going to get this angle to the stitches. So you're going to work this all the way across the chain, and you'll have a total of 35 stitches. And this is going to measure that 60-inch mark. Now you can always adjust your chains if you want the blanket to be a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. Okay, so I've worked across my chain. I'm coming to the very last chain here. It's always a good idea to count your stitches as you go so you don't miss a stitch. And we're going to chain 1 and turn. So our chain 1 is not included as a stitch. You can see here we have this big gap. This is our first stitch. Here are those top loops of the stitch. You have your big gap here, and this is where your first stitch will be going. So yarn over, go through, pull up a loop, pulling it through the first loop only on your hook, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So yarn over, go through the next stitch, pull through the first loop on your hook, yarn over, pull through 1, pull through 2, and you're going to continue working this all the way across. Okay, so once you get to the end of the ball, I am just going to knot on a new ball. But I do like to triple knot it just to make sure that it doesn't come loose. And then I will trim the ends. And then just continue working your stitches. So now I'm coming to the end, and you're gonna see this is the last stitch. There's still 1 stitch to go. Sometimes it's a good idea to count as you work across so you don't miss a stitch. So we're working that into that last space. Chain 1 and turn, and we're just repeating row 2. Okay, so I've been working rows of the blanket. You can see how the stitch pattern is looking, and I'm going to continue now working rows to get the width that I would like for the blanket. So I'm going to continue working those off camera, and then I'll meet back up with you. So I worked 23 rows, and that gave me about 56 inches in width. So I have a half a ball remaining. I wouldn't have been able to get quite another row with half a ball. So I stopped at 23 rows, and I've used a total of 12 and a half balls for this blanket. So this is a really good size. By the time I laid out the blanket, when I initially was measuring it, it was about 60 inches, but when you lay it out, these big stitches tend to have a lot of stretch to them. So it's ended up being about 62 inches by 56. So it's a nice, generous, oversized throw, but I do have a smaller version in the pattern if you prefer something a little bit smaller. So I will just pop up a demonstration on the purple blanket on how to weave in that tail. And now to weave in your tails, what we're going to do is just use our fingers because this yarn is going to be too large for a needle. So you can just take the yarn and weave it through your stitches as you normally would, going one way and then back in the opposite direction. So you're just going to be hiding this tail through the stitches. I'm going to then weave it back in the opposite direction on the other side. Okay, so you can do this to your starting tail as well. For watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and tap the bell to stay updated on all my new videos and tutorials. Make sure to check the description box below the video for the pattern and yarn links. Thanks so much, guys. Have an awesome day.